Okay. How do you feel the idea of children affects our relationship? It's the be all and end all, isn't it?
What do you feel is the tenderness between us that we should protect at all costs?
I think we truly love each other.
Yeah.
And I spend more and more times around other couples to realize they don't. Or a lot of people marry for convenience, or a lot of people just get to a stage and it's like, look, let's be together. And people are together for housing. People are together because they had kids together. People are together for so many reasons, but I literally don't have any other reason other than I completely love you. And sweet. I hope that as long as we keep that genuine love for one another, then all the other problems, we will figure them out.
And I think just our downtime when we're like playing Ludo, playing cards, like doing those little things that are just, a lot of couples don't do as well, like sit there and play card games with each other, do those things. I think just keeping those moments alive is really important.
Agree. And I think we have a level of respect for each other that we don't ever violate. Like even when you're driving me up the walls, there's things I'd never say to you. Yeah. And I know that sometimes couples do. And I've been in relationships that have brought out the worst in me, and I've said things that like I completely regret. Why would I say that to someone? Yeah. I'm so sorry. But I'd never say those kind of things to you. I just think we have this respect for one another that we preserve. And so long as we continue to preserve it, we should be okay.
100%. Your turn.
Okay. How do you feel the idea of children affects our relationship? It's the be all and end all, isn't it?
I think there's just, once again, like, I do sometimes feel like you're very stuck in the way you want to go around about having children. And honestly, sometimes I think that scares me too, because I'm like, if we were to have a child, are you going to be very stuck in parenting ways? Is there going to be flexibility? I mean it though, sometimes with like, my opinion and my things, I feel like we talk about some big things like even schooling, private school. You had a great private school experience. I had the worst private school experience. And I think to you, you're like, yeah, but mine was great. And this is better for the kid and da-da-da-da-da. And for me, it's like, but I'm trying to tell you, it was horrible for me. I think sometimes I do even further just worry about like, I know you'll be a great parent because you love the child, but sometimes I get scared too. Will I be put to the side of like conversations and is it just going to be your way or the highway? We want to raise these kids in London. That's your territory. And even that, I feel like I do want to lean on you for those things. It would be your territory if we're in London, but also like the child would be half of me regardless too. You know what I mean? Half, it's going to be raised by both of us. So what will that look like?
I think for me, and honestly, I'm not proud of this, because even growing up when I was younger, I was like, oh, I'll definitely adopt. I want to adopt. But now in the face of our relationship, and maybe I've let other people's opinions get to me, all of a sudden biology is just ringing in my ear. Like, this child is a descendant of my gran and my granddad. And when I lose them, it's going to be the hardest thing I've ever been through to date. Like, I don't know how I'm going to come back from that.
Yeah.
And I just think, the only way I'd be able to come back from it is this idea of having a piece of them.
But you can't just have a child for that, because I know you may bring a child in the world and not get that feeling at all.
I know. I mean, I will love our child.
I know you would love it, but like, it's just, you can't just bring a child in the world for that. And I do feel like this huge pressure, because both of your grandparents aren't doing well now, like this huge pressure you're putting on yourself, but like, we'll have kids. Like, I've never said I wouldn't have kids. I will, but like not tomorrow, or not under maybe your perfect circumstances. They would have to be what was best for us.
But I want them to meet my grandparents. I want my grandparents to meet them. And when I was born, my parents were 18 and all my great-grandparents were alive. I met them all, you know what I mean? And that was so powerful. I didn't know how powerful it was till now.
In some ways, I feel like it's such a privilege when you say that, though, because like, and maybe that's where my frustration comes into, like, my grandparents might not even meet the kids because they just don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So once again, ideal, but it's just, we can't, like, it just doesn't work like that. So we can't have kids because like, of course, that would be ideal. But also, like, none of my great-grandparents were, I think one of them was alive and I met her once. I don't even remember. So, like, I didn't have that. I think most people don't have their great-grandparents alive. And I know that's ideal to you, but I don't think that's, like, and your grandparents are young, too. That's the truth. They're young. So it shouldn't be happening this quick, but it is, you know? And it's rough. But I think my grandparents are dying, too. That's the truth. You know, I may have even been knowing they're sicker than yours a little bit longer, but like, I can't just bring in a kid to fill that void. Does that make sense? Yeah.
I get you. I think there's things that have affected you sort of negatively from your childhood.
Yeah.
And how you respond to it is different. But a lot of these things from my childhood have been really positive. And like you said, a privilege, and I want that privilege for our child.
Yeah.
And I just don't know how to balance the feelings of knowing I'm going to lose my grandparents and just wanting to give them that and wanting to have a child. It's a really complicated feeling, and it's really hard to explain, but it feels like, and you're right, you shouldn't have a child to save yourself emotionally, but maybe you do. Maybe you do. Like, and because don't get me wrong, whether I have it now or whether I have a child in 5 years.
Yeah.
The only difference is, because I'm going to love a child at any stage, the only real difference is that I get to fulfill something if I do it sooner.
Yeah.
By having my grandparents be a part of that.
Yeah.
And
I don't think I can fully love a child unless I'm at a good place. Maybe that's where we actually differ. And I know that's a rough statement, a strong statement to make. But like right now, if we brought a child into the world, I don't think my mental health is at the best place. I don't think my relationship with my family is. I don't think I've healed from that. So I don't think I can fully love a child the way it would need to be loved if we brought a child in the world right now. And respectfully, I can't imagine you can if you just lost your grandparents. I don't think you would fully be able to be available to a child the way they would need to be. And I'm not putting that on you. We don't need to ponder on it. I'm not making that about you. I think you have to be more healed to bring a child in the world. And I think for me, you're right. I think the experiences, I think we have similar upbringings, but I think we had parents who just did it completely different. I think we both had parents who had kids young. And I think you had parents who made the best of it, chose to have beautiful lives outside of it. And I have one parent who is just a shit parent, continued to have kids and did nothing for any of them. And then I had one mom who gave her entire life to all of us and has no life outside of her children. Mm-hmm. So both to me are very extreme. I have a dad who's incredibly happy, living his best life, gives no fucks for any of his children. And then I have a mom who only cares about her children, but has no life outside of it. So I think I got both extremes, and I'm like, neither one do I want. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Well, I think you have two parents who still have a good life, who still managed to have kids, who got both, but like, I don't. And I'm not going to lie, when I look at most of the relationships in my family around, I don't want any of them. Like, the way they had kids, like I want no parts of it. So I do think it's very different. Yeah. How do you feel your upbringing affects our relationship, and why?
I think my family are just such a connected unit. So I'm very, very family orientated. And I think that affects us in a positive way, because I feel like a lot of people are a couple at this stage, and I feel like we're a family as opposed to a couple. I feel like it made me more confident to get married, having grown up in this 50-year marriage that my grandparents, have always upheld, and seeing their marriage and seeing how my granddad has always supported and loved my nan definitely helps me know how best to love you, and not just to love you how I think I should be loving you, but how you yourself need to be loved. And again, I think it definitely comes back to the children thing. That's definitely affecting our relationship, because I'm the first person in my family not to have a child as a teenager. So, which is a big thing, and I didn't realize it till I was 30, because back then I was like, oh, that's the last thing I want. I don't want to fall into that trap as well. But now I don't want to fall into the other trap where I never have kids. And I think that's what my family were sort of worried about with me marrying a woman. I think maybe it was the only concern they had because they've been really liberal and they've been really accepting. But I think their concern is, oh, will you still be a parent? Will we still be parents, and will they still have grandkids and so on and so on? And I want that for them. I want that for us. And that's definitely something that's been influenced by my family. I think as well, I've raised so many other people's kids in different capacities. My brother, my godson, I always am there for everyone else's kids. And now it's gotten to a point where look, these kids are all grown up and they're all thriving and they're doing so well. And I'd love to put into my own child.
Yeah. Okay.
Our own child.
Yeah, our own child.
Our own child.
Okay.
Yeah. How has your family upbringing affected our relationship?
I think before I met you, in many ways, I thought my family was not perfect, but like as great as it could have been, especially my mom's side. And then I think coming out changed a lot of things. And yeah, I'm getting emotional, but I think it's been really hard to navigate without them, but they're not here. And then I think I lean into your family more and stuff, but it's also probably the reason, like, I'm not really wanting kids right now. Like, I feel like every part of our future looks like it's without my family, and it's not fun. And like, I would love to say yours is enough, but it won't be for me. It's not my family, and it's really, really difficult. It's really, really difficult. Yeah. So I think that's like another route. It's like, I don't know if my kids or our kids would have my parents as grandparents. Like, and that's deep when like I thought, not so much my dad, but I thought my mom was like a great parent. So like, and if I had a child with a man, I think she would be there, and I think she'd be world's greatest grandmother. And it's like, if I have one with you, I mean, I think she's coming around, but I just don't know what that would look like. And it's really hard even without my aunts. It's extremely hard. And I feel like, once again, your family's there and they're great to lean on. But like, even sometimes when I'm with your family, it's very hard because I'm just thinking about the lack of mine, you know? And it's really, really difficult. Really difficult. Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. It's really, really difficult. So
I get that. I can definitely sympathize with that. And I think sorry to cut you off. I think it's even really hard. I feel like so much of your parenting, when you think about being a parent, comes from your parents. Yeah.
So I think like all the beautiful things my mom has taught me is like why I would want kids. But then it's like, I don't know if she would be there. Like, I don't know. It's really difficult. It's really difficult. And I think when we're talking about having kids together, I think your family is beautiful. And I think yours would be there and have a heavy influence on our child. But I would want my family too. But the actuality is, I don't know if they'd be there.
I think, honestly, we also have to give our families some grace.
Yeah.
Because we got married in 3 months.
Yeah.
We didn't even tell your mum until after we were married.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to meet her until after we were married. And so I definitely think we also have to show grace to your family because when I did meet your mum, I didn't feel anything but love.
Of course, yeah.
And I didn't feel anything but her love for you. Actually, the first time I met your mum, I was so worried about what's she going to think of me, but I had to sort of step back from that and be like, this is you guys' moment, because she's not angry that I'm gay. You know what I mean? Yeah. She's not affected by me being gay in any way. It's very much a place you guys had to come to. And I think we're getting there. It's a gradual and slow process, but I hope you know that I try my hardest with your family because I know how important that is for you, and I know how important it is for me to have family. And my ideal is that my family and your family are just one big happy family. But at the core of that, the decision we made to get married, we didn't consult our families. We didn't have to ask them. And that's because we decided you and I are going to be a family. Do you know what I mean? And
100%.
And I'm still surprised myself that my family have been so supportive towards us, because I thought there would be more resistance. But I think we give them time. We give them some grace as well, the same grace that we expect. And I think they will come around, because I can tell your family love you a lot, and they'll come around for you.
Yeah.
That will happen.
100%.
And I'll be patient and forgiving.
Yeah.
And even if they weren't accepting of me in the first place, we're not going anywhere. We're married. We're not dating.
Yeah.
You know, and they're going to have no choice but eventually to come around.
100%.
Don't get upset.
I know, I'm okay.
Don't get upset.
I'm okay. Go ahead.
How do you feel about the conversation we just had, and why?
I feel like we discuss these things all the time, but I feel like I learn something new about you every time, you know, and maybe even something about myself, which I think is good. I feel good. I feel clearer. What about you?
I feel like even our hardest conversations and our hardest fights, and this conversation, at the end of it, I always like, yeah, you're my person. And I think that's a good place to be, because even if the conversation at the end is like, our life is so hard and everything's going to be so terrible for the next year, I'm like, you're still the person that I'm going to go through it with and for. And if it was someone else, I wouldn't go through visa struggles, and I wouldn't pay thousands for a visa. I would just have married someone from London, okay? And called it a day. 100%. I wouldn't be stressing about all of these things, but you're my person, so whatever we have to go through, we will go through.
You make it worth it. Okay. What is your greatest hope for us, and why?
My greatest children. 2 of them. One from you and one from me.
What else are your requirements? So lay them all on the table.
I want 2 kids, just 2. If we have enough money, we can adopt a 3rd, and I'd love that. But to start with, I'd like 2 kids, one that's biologically mine, one that's biologically yours, but they have the same biological father. So they have that sibling solidarity.
What other requirements do you have?
A 2-bedroom palatial estate. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
But children. I'd like us to have children. I'd like us to have a family, and I'd like us to have at least 2. Ideally, I'd love 3, because I'd also love to adopt. I think it's something that you and I are made for. I think we both have the hearts to love children in that way. And so I'd love 3 kids.
Oh, it's 3 now. You know,
okay, 2
to 3
kids.
Started out with 2
to 3 kids.
It's already at 3.
It all just depends on finances. However many we can afford. In fact, let's not put a number on it.
More. Okay.
But a bare minimum of 2.
Okay.
I'd like someone that looks like you and someone that looks like me running all around the house. And I like them to be girls. But I'll take boys as well. I'd love any kid, but I just think neither of us know how to be men. And we don't know that many good men.
Yeah, fair.
And if we do wait till my granddad's gone, then I won't really know any. So I'd like us to have a family.
Okay. And I just want us to have some, maybe honestly right now it's more of a short-term goal, but just get through this next year of wedding, visa, all of that, to get to a point where we're like more stable and can have these children.
Yeah. Stability first, then children. Yeah. First comes love, then comes marriage, then comes baby and a baby carriage. It's a British rhyme for you.
Oh, is that British? I think we say that here in America too, baby. Yes. It's a wrap.
If you love the And conversations or the And products, visit theskindeep.com/shop so you can purchase our products and experiences. Subscribe to any of our social media channels, and we really want to stay in touch and connect, improving the world one conversation at a time.